I have a daughter. She came to me a couple years ago looking for a car. She wanted a specific kind of car.
I wanted a Dodge Challenger when I was younger. I looked at a lot of pictures and I actually went online and looked into getting one, but they were around 25 grand.
Those aren't so easy to find in her price range because she don't like to work.
So I told Dad about it and he found a Dodge Charger on an auction and actually emailed it to me.
I do a lot of buying and selling stuff on auctions and stuff like that, and on one of my equipment auctions I stumbled onto an older squad car down in South Florida, and it was a 2013 Dodge Charger. It had a Hemi in it, which meets the criteria for my son-in-law, who would have pitched an absolute hissy fit if it hadn't.
You gotta have a Hemi if you get a Dodge, but we picked up a police car down in South Florida, I think around Tampa area. I picked it up at auction.
The car didn't look like it was in that bad a shape. It was fairly low miles, ran good, sounded real good, but there was a big old puddle of oil underneath it, and we went to move it over a little bit, and Quentin said, yeah, it ain't turning very easy, so we knew what the puddle was from. So we had great expectations of the trip and had it all planned out to go get. I was supposed to ride back with her, Quentin was gonna drive my truck, and that all kind of went south when we showed up and seen a big puddle of oil in the bottom of it.
So Quentin drove it back.
Halfway back, fiddling with the lights, got them on, couldn't figure out how to shut them off.
We did not do that. We were great. We obeyed the law every step of the way. Never even touched those buttons.
So there was a little excitement there on I-75. Nobody's seen. I mean, who would see? It's only I-75 in the middle of the day.
Obviously, you know, it's a police car, so it's always fun to drive. You know, riding through town, not supposed to blare the lights and sirens, but how are you not going to when you have one? So of course, riding down the highway, you got the headlight, you got the red and blue lights on and the sirens going.
So we got it back and took it for a little bit of a ride. When I got in it, got on it a little bit, it had a very, very familiar thump to it. So I talked to Quentin about that, and we determined it had a motor mount out.
Basically found out about the motor mounts because once you hit it, the engine would just kind of cock one way, and that would pull that motor mount hard. So yeah, we replaced both left and right motor mounts. We investigated the power steering failure, which turned out to be just a leaking case. And so we replaced the case on it and brand new O-ring, filled it back up, and that saved a lot of money there because those electronic power steering pumps are pretty expensive. And so that one did manage to still work. I don't know how long it was out of fluid, but it was still good at that point. So we just fixed that, and luckily that fixed the power steering problem. Between that, there was visual things that we took off of it, such as the bull bars, you know, the light bars, the decals.
Getting the decals off the car was a very long process. It was me and my sisters all did it. It took about probably 3 to 2 hours to get all of it off, but it wasn't that bad.
We went to town on ripping it apart, taking the roll cage and everything out of the inside. We got the shotgun holder, that all works. We saved all that. We're gonna be putting that in Rattler probably.
Woo-wee, boys, I tell you what we got right here. We got us a shotgun holder, okay? What we gonna do, we're gonna mount it to the back of this little, whatever this thing is that he's welding up. And we're gonna put some power to these 2 wires. And we put that power in them wires and you press a button, that thing goes click. And we got that shotgun, we go, pow, pow.
The lights, she drove it around for a week or 2 with them, so she got to play with them a little bit. But the main thing is we were able to keep the light up in the front dash, and I think she's still got some lights on the back of it somewhere, and all the sirens and the PA and all that are there. So we've pretty much done everything we're going to do to it, but we haven't fixed the back doors yet. To be honest, I think she kind of likes locking her friends in the back of her car. But we do have the kit to do that, and we'll probably be doing a video on that here in the future.
My role was mostly telling them what I wanted from it and overall. Telling them what to do was definitely something new for me because I'm the youngest, but it was fun.
My role, first and foremost, I'd say probably was helping Rachel finish paying for it. She'd saved up a lot of the money herself, but we went and financed the rest. And Quentin really stepped up on this one because he's such a big Dodge fan. So I just helped with some of the projects, as I usually do, that were a little bit more, I don't know, I'm not going to say they're always more technical. They're just things that they have no experience with and stuff like that. So my role on this was pretty much to do what I was told.
Basically, my role in it was Rachel said, "Hey, I want this," and I said, "Okay, sounds good." And so we kind of worked together there, determining what looked better on the vehicle. And so I helped her pick out the wheels and tires. I helped her pick out the spoiler. So after the tires and rims, we decided that it needed a little bit more. Just a plain white Charger just wasn't quite enough.
Me and Quinn, for the stickers, we did a lot of research on it, but we ended up just both overall looking at it, and we found a few that we liked, and we just sent it to Lettering on the Cheap, and they got them done for us, and I think they turned out really well.
I did all the mechanical repairs, so replacing the motor mounts, fixing the power steering pump. I was involved heavily in taking all the components off. The more basic things, the more complicated things such as removing the light bar and the other lights was left to Shane. He had more knowledge in that area.
We had to patch the hole in the roof, which we basically just welded a piece of metal there very carefully because we didn't remove the headliner or anything. So we did that without starting any fires. That was my biggest fear.
And it left a large hole in the roof that Shane repaired, and then it was my responsibility to fix that repair, such as using Bond or whatever, make it disappear, and then spray the roof with the same color body paint.
And Quentin did a really good job of painting the roof. We stopped it right at the top of the roof, so it's a great place to cut your paint lines in case you don't match perfectly. Yeah, it turned out real good. Then from there, Lettering on the Cheap hooked her up with some killer decals, and the girls are real good at designing stuff like that and putting that stuff on, and they put it on, and the rims and stuff Quentin got. Again, there's just certain things that Quentin is gonna be involved in, and you just gotta kind of let the man go.
Working with my family, it depends on the day how it is, but most of the time it's fun. But I think it just ends up giving us a lot of memories to look back on.
Working with family is one of the easiest things to do, but it can also be one of the hardest things to do. I know Shane experiences a lot. If we were, just another regular employee, I doubt any of us would still be working here. He tolerates a lot from us because we are, his family.
What's it like working with family? This question is probably going to get asked a lot over the next several years as we do this, and I hope that a lot of people can see it. The good and the bad, there really isn't any bad from my perspective, because the bad for me is training my kids and helping them obtain more at a very delicate time in their life, whether they're adults or they're heading towards adulthood or whatever. The frustrations, of course, come when you ask for stuff to get done, it don't get done. There's typical things that you'd run into as you're raising your children and you're working with them. But as far as working with family in general, not just my family, but my before family, meaning my dad, my brothers, my sister, it's really special. It's fun. It's definitely my dad. It's the way we were raised, and he taught us to take pride in the fact that we can do what we do and do it together. But it's great working with family, really. I mean, there's no better way to get stuff done. It's fun.
I definitely wouldn't trade it.
My favorite part about the car is probably the rims.
My favorite part about the car, that's kind of a tough one, and I'd say the reason it's a tough one is because I have my favorite parts for me, and then probably my least favorite parts for her are the same thing. It's a fun car to drive. It really sounds good. It has a lot of pep. It handles really, really well. These are all things that, of course, I love, but not necessarily for my 16-year-old daughter.
It's fun to drive the car. I mean, it goes fast, but I'm a safe-ish driver, I'd say.
From her perspective, I like it because it's a big car. It's a heavy car, so I do feel a little bit better about her being in it, and I trust that she drives it well. But honestly, for what it was, doing this kind of a thing, for what we had in the car, I think it really turned out to be a pretty cool car, and I like the way it looks.
So yeah, you got a mix. I mean, you got this really cool car that drives down the road, looks good, but then it's got some cool aspects of a police car. And so again, I didn't really have any expectations. It's just in the end, I wanted to end up with a car, that was reliable and also a fun car for Rachel to drive.
Driving a cop car, I've had a few people like in drive-thrus ask me about the center console because they don't know what it is. They're like, what is that? Why is it glowing? And then I just tell them what it is. But I've had a few people tell me like that's a nice looking car, ask me where I got it or if it's legal, but other than that, not much. I actually had a sheriff leave a card at school on my window though, asking whose car it was, but I mean, she didn't ask anything other than where I got it, and then she asked the specific name of the auction, but I didn't know, so.
I really liked this car and the way that it turned out. Was it what I envisioned? I'd say yeah. I don't think anything was below expectations. There's some things that you can always do, and it's another nice thing about these cars is there's a lot of stuff that you can get, but I can't take credit for the decisions that she made. Her and Quentin made a lot of these decisions. It's clean, it's sharp, it's not too much. And I really think the car turned out really good. I think it's a head turner.
I think the car turned out good. I didn't have like a set in stone, like this is what I want it to look like, but we worked together and got it looking nice, so I like it.
My favorite part of this project, obviously, would be the way that Rachel took to the car. I think, like I said, this wasn't what she'd really wanted, but I think she'll tell you that she really likes it. It turned out a lot better than she probably expected when she seen what it was. It's right in the right era of the year. I think if you go much older with these police cars, you're not going to really be able to make it not look like a dated car. Where this one here, actually it's a good looking car. That was by far my favorite part, is just being able to help her with this.
Going to pick it up was pretty fun, but that didn't really include a lot of people. That was just me, Rachel, and Shane.
My favorite part was probably going to pick it up. That was fun, but I didn't get to drive it back, but spending time with Quentin and Dad was fun. And my least favorite part was probably spending money.
Least favorite part, definitely, without a doubt, would be the motor mounts. I'll be okay if I never have to replace another motor mount on a Dodge Charger again. That was a huge pain. So yeah, that was definitely the least favorite part.
I love working with my family. I mean, as long as I can keep Quentin away from my stool, everybody gets along good, because Quentin will kill my stool. He's done it more than once. We have no video evidence, but I am certain the day will come that we will have some.
Probably one of the most fun parts was some of the evenings that we would spend there together, you know, kind of taking all the stuff off. So just, you know, shooting the breeze with family, you know, messing around with each other, and just all involved in taking it apart so we can put it back together.
But other than that, that's always the fun part. You get together with the family, you go out there, we rip it apart. Especially projects like this, it was way faster and easier than a lot of the projects that we take on. I mean, one night we had everything tore off of it. Probably beyond that, then it broke into smaller groups. You know, we probably had 4 or 5 hours before we had the thing painted. Then you had another group doing the decals. But always the favorite parts are either me working with the family or knowing that my girls are working together and doing something for each other, and I think they truly enjoy it.